when you guys got over to WWE, did y'all bring up, hey, we need to do tables, ladders, and chairs? I mean, was that?
No. When we came in, the Dudleys were basically the Dudleys from the beginning of ECW.
Okay.
Where Bubba was stuttering and dancing and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't want to do that. We had already evolved from that. So we were basically trying to come into the Dudleys that you saw later on in the years in WWE. Vince was a big fan of the stuttering and the dancing. You know, it's entertaining. You know, that's what Vince liked. So that's what we were doing. And it was only after I believe it was the ladder match between the Hardys and Edge and Christian that they had in Cleveland, Ohio, where they tore the house down with that ladder match. And I remember Bubba and myself were at the monitor watching, and a little envious of it because we wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah, sure.
And I remember both of us saying, if Vince would just let us be us, we'll show him that we can do exactly what they're doing. And it was about a week later after that, because we did Monday Night Raw. That was when pay-per-views were on a Sunday. Monday, we were at Monday Night Raw, wherever we were. Then we did SmackDown. Went home, came back on the road, went to TV that next week, and then that's what we were told, that the Dudleys were going to be in a tables match with the Hardys at the Royal Rumble at Madison Square Garden. And I remember when me and Bubba found out, he said, we got to turn it up. We have to be the Dudleys of the old. I said, well, is Vince going to make you stutter? And he was like, no. They said, you don't have to do it. He's like, he might give me a promo where I have to go, whatever. He smacked me in the back of the head, but don't smack me hard, Devon. Listen, whenever Bubba would mess with me and I had to smack him because, get him out of the stuttering, bam!
Got to get those shots when you can, right?
Get him in. I'm like, no, it's cool. So, we did that, and, we went in there, that Royal Rumble, that tables match, and we tore the house down. It was really, really cool to be able to do that, to be able to show what we can do. And then, of course, a couple of months later, that's when, we started having matches with the Hardys and Edge and Christian, and something started to develop.
Yeah.
And we basically were told, okay, you guys are going to be in a tables, ladders, and chairs match at WrestleMania in Anaheim, California. And it was just called a ladder match at that point. But we were able to use, tables and ladders and chairs and all that. So we basically looked at it as that it was the original first TLC match, but it was called a ladder match. But we were able to do that. And then once we did that, I just remember the stakes were high because, we were on WrestleMania with Taker, with Rock, with Big Show, all these big names, Austin, all these big names. And now if we the bed on this, we'll never be invited again to the dance. That would be it.
Yeah.
Y'all tore it down, man.
And we didn't care about our bodies at that point in time. I mean, at my age now, I take a step off the curb and I'm like, oop, nice and easy.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember that TLC match. Yeah.
And we just went out there and we just did it.
Yeah.
And we knew we had to bring it.
And, the funny thing is what's interesting is just like the streak at WrestleMania, right? Like it didn't have to be a main event, but people bought tickets to go see the streak, right?
Absolutely.
I think for the first time in a very long time, people were buying tickets to watch a tag team match when y'all were doing TLCs. And anytime y'all were on the card against the Hardys or Edge and Christian, people were excited to see that tag team match.
I mean, we changed it up every single time. And every time we did a TLC match, we were like, okay, this is great. Good, we're done with that. Now we've proven ourselves, let's move on. Dudley's, Edge and Christian, Hardys, you do another TLC match. It was like, what could we possibly do in this one that we didn't do in the other one? We had to lock ourselves in the room and basically come up with these ideas.
You guys had, it's really crazy for three completely different teams to have such chemistry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, it's not as easy as you guys made it look.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard.
It's hard to get six people on the same page to create something like that, and then to have to create it multiple times and make it different and interesting.
When you think about TLC and you watch it ever since y'all, but you watch other teams do it, no one, if you bring up to a wrestling fan TLC matches, no one's talking about any other match outside of the y'all's matches?
Well, I think what made it special also is that the story we told. We
Yes.
we just didn't swing chairs.
Yeah.
We didn't just put people on ladders and jump. We just didn't put people through tables. We had a story behind it, a story that people can invest in and really like. Remember, the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys, we were doing live event matches all the time with each other. We were doing Raw and SmackDown matches. You know, this is when the roster was on the same show as Raw and SmackDown. We weren't separated at that time. So we were constantly working with each other, and we got to build that camaraderie with each other, and we were able to gel and get to know each other. So by the time we got to the TLC matches, it made it a little bit easier, I felt, for us, but also adding in all the different elements, not only telling a good story, but now adding in the tables, ladders, and chairs. And then WrestleMania 17, having all of those, but now bringing in 3 more people. Rhino made his debut, Spike, and Lita. Adding 3 more people to it. So now we got all these, these components, and now we got to make it all work. And we're doing it on the biggest stage that there is at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's like, now you can't mess up.
Yep.
You have to be on the same page. Everybody has to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And everybody's got to hit their spots. Everybody's got to sell correctly. They got to move and be in the right place. You have to do it. And again, people ask me, how the hell did you guys do it? I'm like, it was God.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a very biblical person when it comes to that, but I believe that if he didn't want it, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Something would have went totally wrong, but it didn't.
Because those matches are chaos too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? When you're talking about 6 to 9 people being in a ring together,
And having to
one
know
time,
where everybody's at
everybody's
and
at,
what
yeah.
and what's,
and then you throw in
yeah.
some ladders, you throw in some tables, you throw in some chairs. There's a lot of
Stuff going
there's
on.
a lot
moving
of stuff
parts.
going on. Yeah, a lot of moving parts versus a one-on-one match,
Yeah.
or even just a regular tag team match.
And Taker will tell you, there's times where 2 people can be in the ring and they're not on the same page.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
can't tell a story. It's not that good.
And with
so.
2 people, you're an inch away from at any point being paralyzed or dying or whatever. Now you guys you're millimeters away from it being on ladders and stuff, and that to me just is a testament of how great y'all were, and the chemistry that all of y'all had together was impeccable, and it you could see it through the screen.
I mean, I love those guys, greatly. I mean, the Dudleys couldn't have done it without Edge and Christian, or the Hardys, and vice versa with all the other teams.
Yeah.
We could not have done it without each other. We had to be on the same page. And we've heard now with some of the stuff that you see, like the dark side of wrestling, or some of these documentaries that you see, how certain tag teams or certain people didn't get along. And now when you look back at some of those matches, you understand why what happened during that match happened when you knew something went wrong, but it was never exposed why. Now you know we weren't exposed because nothing went wrong, because we actually had a genuine care for each other. And we all were on the same page. No one was trying to outdo the other. That's the thing. During that time, everybody was on top of the world. Everybody was making money. Everybody was over. From the beginning of the opening match to the main event, everyone was over. There was no in-betweens, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
So to have, and people can get big heads or what have you, but, to be on that level during that time with the money that was being generated, with the people that were coming into the arenas to watch us, that right there tells you that, the people that we had within those matches were real.
Yeah.
Because they knew what was at stake, and they knew that we had to be on the same page. There's a lot of times where people know that they got to be on the same page, but they're not. And they go this way.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why things fail.
Right, yep.
And you got to think about if Edge and Christian get hurt or Hardys get hurt, or y'all get hurt, that affects everyone
Absolutely.
with y'all. Because at that time, y'all were the 3 hottest things, walking. And you wanted the Hardys to walk out of that ring the way they
absolutely.
walked in. And same thing with Edge and Christian. And they felt the same way about y'all, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Because all of you were making, y'all needed each other really to be able to keep doing what y'all were doing.
And I had kids.
Yeah.
Make that money.
No doubt.
What do you think about tag teams today? What needs to happen with the tag team division right now?
Well, back then, Edge and Christian were kind of put together in a sense, but they knew each other. They knew
Right.
each other before the business, and they trained together. They did everything together. So they were kind of a tag team anyway, even though they came in separate. The Hardys grew up together. They were legit brothers. They were able to get on the road and function like a legit tag team. But they were, in a sense. The Dudleys, same thing. We were able to be together for 5.5 years in ECW, got to learn each other, got to travel with each other, got to even fight with one another. Being able to, come up with ideas and be on the same page. So we were able to do that. Nowadays, it just seems like they take people and just put them together for no reason.
Yeah, no chemistry.
No chemistry whatsoever. And you're just hoping that it's like throwing crap against the wall and hoping it sticks. A lot of times it just doesn't.
Yeah.
That's the difference between the tag teams of yesterday and the tag teams of today. Everybody is a me generation. What can I do? How can I wow the people? How can I wow the crowd? And it's like I got to get my stuff in before everybody else gets their stuff in. And that was the thing. Edge and Christian, the Dudleys and the Hardys weren't like that. You do what you got to do. We're going to do what we got to do, and Edge and Christian will do what they got to do. We all know that we will get over if we stick together as a unit. We don't have to be separate from it.
If you get the match over, you're going to get everybody else is going to get over, and that's what they did. They will be you guys. All three teams will be synonymous with TLC. When you have something that has lasted the test of time, like y'all's TLC matches, I mean, it's a testament to that everybody put that match and that story before anybody else's ego or any other individual needs. And I think because of the success, obviously, of those matches led to, obviously, I think, Edge's singles run. I mean, I think those matches put him on the map as a singles guy, and the same thing with Jeff down the road.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But it was the group as a whole, putting the match above everything else is what made it obviously so good.
And giving an individual credit that I didn't mention that helped us do that as well was Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes was involved in every single one of the TLC matches and even a lot of the matches on Raw and SmackDown that we had. So it was great to have a producer that understood us and that was able to help us through all of that. Even if there was a little bit of tension, Michael was there to get rid of that tension and say, hey, look, guys, this is what's important. This is what we have to do. This is what Vince wants.
Yeah. Of all people, Michael Hayes, right? Who caused in his career like so much tension but he brilliant, man. I think, and Michael was a great heel, and
tremendous.
The Freebirds, I think, but his contributions, behind the scenes as a producer, I think are far great. I mean, that's hard to say because the Freebirds were awesome, but I think him as a producer is his greatest contribution to the wrestling business. Yeah. I mean, he was my producer for all my WrestleMania matches and just incredible.
I think today's fan
mind.
doesn't understand how important Michael Hayes is to wrestling.
Funny story. You'll appreciate this. Table, ladders, and chairs. So, and then Edge too is involved in this. We had, we had a really good run, and we end up. I think it was in San Diego. I'm sure everybody will correct me.
It's probably New York,
but it's where I choke slam him. I choke slam him off the ladder, and he goes through the ring, right? Yes. And then the fire and everything comes out. So we're kind of going over everything the night before, and we're talking about and just kind of running ideas, and there was the ring was gimmicked some to a degree. So Michael was like, okay. Y'all ain't gonna have to take this bump. I'm gonna take the bump, okay? I'm gonna show y'all everything's gonna be good. I'm gonna take the bump. I was like, Mike, you don't have to take the bump, bro. We'll figure it out, right? No. I'm good. I'm gonna take the bump. I'll do it. So we finally we get everything mapped out the way we want, and it gets time to go through the ring, right? And Mike climbs up the ladder, one rung, and it's two rungs, and you can see him looking down. Okay, hang on. And he's got a death grip on the ladder. Hang on. I'm like, Michael, for Pete's sake, let me just do it. I got it, damn it. Come on. So he finally gets up to the point where he would be, and he's looking, And I mean, you could look at his hands and see the tension in his hands. Edge and I are like, oh, come on, man. It's getting late. We got to get up tomorrow and work. Hang on, Dad. Hang on. I got this. I bet he was on that ladder. I bet he was on the ladder at least 20 minutes before
Holy crap!
before he took
you
the
ever
bump.
actually.
Yeah. And to the point where it just became a joke. Like, it was like, hang on, I got this. I'm like, but you ain't stepping off. Yeah, but it was so funny. But he was so good. So
Yeah, he really was.
Still is.
Oh yeah. He's I love the
And now he's
Freebirds.
training. I think he's training. I think Bobby Roode now.
Oh really?
Yeah, to be the
Take over.
next the next guy down the line. And Mike says he's doing phenomenal.
That's awesome.
As a producer.
Because Michael helped me, when I made the transition from in-ring talent to producer in the back, Michael helped me tremendously with a lot of stuff. And I was kind of like underneath his wing for a little bit.